Well, Joe, we'll talk about weather later, and it is kind of looking a little as we work our way throughout the day. Okay, so with the 4th of July holiday, though, a lot of people are going to be hitting the roads, and of course, with more drivers on the roads come more dangers. 42.3 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more during the Independence Day holiday. 84% by automobile, 8% will fly, 8% by train, bus, or cruise. So anytime, like I said, there are more cars on the roads, there are added dangers. So joining with me from AAA right now, I have Mike Formanowicz. Welcome, Mike.
Good morning.
You're going to be talking to us about ways to stay safe when you're driving.
Yes, I am. It's an exciting time of year. The weather's been good, and as you said, if these numbers, projected numbers, are correct, this will set a record for summer travelers.
And I'm guessing the lower gas prices.
The lower gas prices, there's a lot of factors involved, but the lower gas prices is definitely helping out quite a bit.
One of the things we're going to touch on first is drowsy driving. Talk to me a little bit about that. I've heard, I don't know if this is true, that drowsy driving can be as bad or worse than drinking and driving. That
is correct. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about distracted driving, and rightly so, because that is a concern. You always want to avoid distractions behind the wheel. When people think of impaired driving, they think of driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, but a lot of people don't recognize the danger of drowsy driving. And you're right. People who drive drowsy typically perform about the same as someone who's under the influence of alcohol. If you think about it, when you're tired, you just don't perceive things the way you normally do every day. Your judgment is impaired as well, same as if you're drinking alcohol. The big thing with drowsy driving is your reaction time gets slower. So if something happens on the road in front of you, it takes you longer to stop or move into another lane to avoid that.
And you were telling me that a good way to avoid drowsy driving is if you're a morning person, you're always up in the morning, drive during the morning. Don't wait until it's at night when you're out of work and then hit the road. Just maybe spend the night at home, wake up that morning, and go on your trip. We're going to move on to talk about what you should keep in your car on these summer road trips, or any time, in fact.
Okay, we've got some things with us today. Jumper cables are always a great idea, just in case that battery won't start. Before you take a long trip, you should check things like your tire, your batteries, and your wipers, make sure they're functioning properly, but always good to have just in case.
Red on red, black on black.
There you go. Flashlight in case you do break down during the nighttime hours so you can see a little better. First aid kit's a good idea to have, just for those minor bumps and bruises and scratches. You've got something to take care of that. Usually have an ice pack as well. Cones, we'll talk more about these in a little bit and how these can help us out. One of the most important things you can have when you're traveling, definitely a cell phone.
A cell phone.
You break down, you can call for help instantly.
And I think even if you don't have a cell phone with you on at all times, you can get one where you keep in your car. You use it in an emergency situation. Let's talk about the cones, because when your car breaks down, the cones are going to come in handy. You're
right about that. First thing you want to do if you're experiencing difficulty, you want to get your vehicle as far off the road as you possibly can. Now, if you're on the highway, that's going to mean pulling off on the shoulder and getting off away from the flow of traffic. If you're in a rural area, same thing. You may have to use that shoulder of the road to be safe. If you're in a residential area or a city, you can pretty much pull over to the curb or into a parking lot if you can. The big thing is try to get out of that lane of traffic so you're not impeding other traffic as they go by. So that's number one, get out of the way. Number two, of course, you want to alert people as to where you are. Again, the cell phone comes in handy. Know where you are so you can give a good description. If you're on a highway, eastbound, westbound, northbound, southbound, what highway are you on? Mile markers are fantastic. If not, you may have to say something like, well, heading east on the thruway, I passed Pembroke, but I'm not quite in Batavia yet. So the more information you can give, the better.
And just another reason why you don't want to be drowsy driving, because when you're alert, you're awake, you're paying attention to roadsides and where you are. So much information. We could go on about this all day. We're going to post all of this on our website, wingingit.tv, so as you get ready for the road trip, check our website, see what other tips are out there. Mike, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hope you have a wonderful holiday.
You too.
On that note, we're going to send things over to Emily, who's in our Kitchen World Kitchen. Hey, Emily.